How about an opening night, Thursday night football recap right after the game? Because we have to. We have to when all the work pays off, which was a night like tonight. What do we mean? Well, algorithm said if you caught the video, which not that many people caught the video I did just before the game. It's about 20 people. If you caught the video, you'll see that when Kelsey got ruled out, all of a sudden this became the score of the game. 20.4 is actually what Detroit had versus 20.0 for the Chiefs, and it ended up being 21-20 Detroit. Essentially everything I said in the video happened according to the way the algorithm had this game laid out, and voila, algorithm pulls. I almost want to call it an exact score because it's kind of an exact score. Like, actually, no, it's not. It was 2020, and technically it was six tenths of a percent off from clearing that and making this 21-20 exactly. So it wasn't perfect. Let's actually see if we can make it perfect. Here's what I mean. So this game happened, and the stats are live on ESPN. And we can glance at this and also use the information from watching the majority of the game, which I did. And so we have a lot of activity here that can be looked at and compared to the file and compared to the algorithm. So all these players, did they perform to their appropriate level? Kickers didn't do anything spectacular, and there were hardly any field goals, so there's nothing we can do about that. It's just the nature of how the game went. But you'll see that it figured into the final scoring fine anyway. McKinnon played okay. Pacheco played okay. Allaire played okay. They were not great games. They were less than expected. Don't know about Richie James. Kadarius Toney, I don't think got very many. Watson overachieved a little bit. And it was Rashee Rice and Blake Bell with the touchdowns. Rashee Rice definitely overachieved. And so we got this wrong. So in order to get this perfect, let's go into Rashee Rice's name and kind of look at how we're going to give him a different assessment number. We're going to give him a different override because we manually put this 10% here for him, but he outplayed that. And what do I mean by that? If you look at how he played, you'll see that he didn't rush very well, but he caught 3 passes for 29 yards and a touchdown. That is definitely worth more than a 0.1. We're going to move him all the way up to, he played like a 0.35 level in this game. All right, so we're going to bring that up. That's one thing that definitely needs to change. And you'll see that we now move him like up here. And there's an argument to be made for Blake Bell, but that was one catch, I believe, close to the end zone. It just happened to be him. So we're adding a little bit to the Chiefs who didn't play well, who didn't run, who didn't whatever. Let's take a look at that list and see. So the Chiefs rushing game, which I thought would have more yards than this, somebody didn't get it at all. Pacheco, Allaire, so it was McKinnon. Did McKinnon? Yeah, he got 1 pass, and he really underplayed in this game. So that's where we end up overriding. McKinnon, he dropped down to like a 0.15 this game. He didn't perform. Certainly didn't rush. So that drops him down. Now let's see what that does to the score and see if the Chiefs score is still 20 points. It's now 19. So we dropped it a little bit. Maybe we give McKinnon a 0.2. See if there's anybody else that we want to change here for the Chiefs. I'll leave these guys, even though they didn't perform. I still want to leave their numbers when we can. Tony Scandling. Richie James. What happened with Richie James today? Richie James didn't do much of anything. He got 1 pass for 6 yards. So a lot of underachieving going on when it comes to Richie James. He was the top ranked receiver. He clearly did not have it happening today. So this is another area where you need to bring him down to a 0.1. It's really what he was. 0.15. Like, he didn't perform today. So we bring him down, but then we've got to give somebody else, where else was the offense? The answer, it was Blake Bell's touchdown. And so I guess technically you throw Blake Bell in here and you give him a 0.3 because he did get a touchdown. And now you're at 2018. We're still losing points because we have removed some people without adding wherever the points came from. And I mean, where did they come from, right? Well, Valdez Scantling received well. Watson, Noah Gray got more. Okay, yeah. So what you can technically do, even though he didn't perform enough, is you can move him up from his 0.22 because he got targeted more than Kelsey is what happened, because obviously Kelsey wasn't there. And if you bring him up to like a 0.45, which is still overrating him for this game, but it's bringing back some of, you're at about 2018. I'm going to leave it for now. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to up the magnifier slightly because of what we did, and I think we'll get there. So I just did Kansas City, basically. Now, well, what about Detroit? How did Detroit fare versus what actually happened? Well, I'm on St. Brown, Mon-Ra St. Brown, played incredible and probably overplayed even this number, but did great. We don't do anything with the kickers, really. Montgomery overplayed this number, including walking in for a touchdown at the end of the game to win. Jahmyr Gibbs underperformed slightly here. And he was the draft pick, so I overestimated him. He still played okay, but he played right around this level of about a 0.2 and not at a 0.4. So we're going to lower that, and that's going to lower Detroit's score slightly, even though it hasn't totally shown. Actually, now we're at 2020 all of a sudden. That's funny. We're at 20.2. Okay, we're not done. So now we go back and we say, all right, well, with Detroit, because we're done with Kansas City. With Detroit, where were we screwed up here? First of all, Marvin Jones, I believe, did not have a good game. So with Detroit, it was Reynolds that ran the ball well. St. Brown, Laporta is the one that needs to get extra. That's what happened. Is Laporta is one that we rated. He outperformed his 0.1 for sure. We're going to up him to about a 0.3. Laporta. So we're going to bring him up to a 0.3 because he deserves it. He made some big, I'm actually going to go 0.35. He made some big catches. He looked good. That was somebody that I think converted on them being a draft pick and playing well. Okay. And then other things we might need to change would be Marvin Jones. So what happened with Marvin Jones? Marvin Jones had 2 receptions for 8 yards, and he didn't run the ball at all. So that's where we're taking points away here. He didn't do a 0.36. He did a 0.1. So we reduced Marvin Jones. Okay. Got rid of that. The rest of this, was there anybody down here who played great? Bridgewater did not play. So if you remove Bridgewater because he didn't play, which I brought him in there because I thought he actually might play. So we're going to override him with a 0 because we want to bring scores down a little bit as well to get this perfectly accurate. So now what we have is right. It's 2019. Oh, but now it's Chiefs over Lions. It flipped slightly. Darn it. Darn it. Because I took out Bridgewater. Let's put Bridgewater back in. Because I gave Goff. Oh, you know what? Sorry. We'll do what I just did. No, this is the way to fix this. Tell you what happened. I forgot to go over one of the most important players of the game, which is Jared Goff. Well, let's take a look at what happened with Jared Goff today. And I guess it's the last thing I talk about because I realized I made a bad judgment call here. I said that Jared Goff's rating is not that good and their expectations are not good for him. He actually had a better completion percentage than Mahomes today. Threw for more yards today at 253. One less TD and didn't throw any interceptions. So they focused on a run game and that opened him up to at least play acceptable. and he outplayed his rating. And he played like a 0.4 out, passing Mahomes. The reason why I say that is take a look at Mahomes' rating. Mahomes actually needs to be slightly dropped from this game. He's a 0.43. Goff outplayed him today to 0.45. That's what actually happened. That's not going to happen every game, but that's what happened in this game. And voila, now we're at 20.25. And if we up this to 5.6, maybe 5.75, see what happens. 21-21, 5.7, 5.65. So close. What are we at? 50.62, 5.58. I'm sure there's a, oh gosh, it doesn't want to get there. I'm kidding. What is that at 5.5? Hold on a second. We might be there anyway. No, this has to go up. This is 2.5 and this is 2. No, it'll get there. Hold on. 5.53. I think that'll do it. Nope. I know this is kind of boring to watch, but understand that this is how, like, we are really, really close to perfection. And it's because, come on. I know it'll get there. The reason why I'll get there is, yeah, we're at 4.7. We are so close. Thought I did 5.57. There it is. Perfect. After all that, yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect, and it's also perfectly drawn with logic, which is how did these people play? We overrode their numbers with more of how they actually played. But the truth was that we overrated some guys and underrated some guys by just enough that our score was 20-20 anyway, and still put the Lions on top. And it just had to be slightly different. That means the job was well done. And when I say that they're the most predictive algorithms ever created, it's because they do this. I challenge anyone watching this video, find me a video of someone else who predicted the score of this game to be 20-20 or 21-20 with the Lions winning. Please show me that video where that person did that. I am fairly certain, strongly fairly certain, that you will not find anyone who had a prediction like that. And not only did the algorithm have a prediction like that, it had a prediction like that for all the right reasons, with all the right people. So that's why I do this sometimes. I do feel good on nights when it just knocks it out of the park and you scratch your head and you're like, oh my God, like, wow. So there you go. Good luck. If your picks didn't win today, you didn't listen to the algorithm.